The sun rose over the sprawling fields of the McAllister farm, illuminating a landscape that had been in the family since 1892. For over a century, the land had been tilled, harvested, and cared for by generations of McAllisters, each leaving their mark on the soil in one way or another. The current steward of this legacy, Daniel McAllister, had inherited the 2,000-acre farm from his father, just as his father had inherited it before him. The land had been more than just a source of livelihood. It was a testament to resilience, hard work, and a deep-rooted connection to the earth. Daniel had grown up on this land, waking up before dawn to help his father with chores, learning the delicate balance of nature, and understanding the rhythms of the seasons. The farm produced corn, wheat, and barley, while a portion was dedicated to livestock grazing. Over the years, the McAllisters had modernized their techniques, embracing sustainable farming practices while maintaining the traditions that had kept the farm running for generations. But change was creeping into the valley. Just beyond the eastern boundary of the farm, where once there had been open pastures, a new development had risen: Oak Ridge Estates, a gated community filled with luxury homes, pristine lawns, and residents who had little understanding of farm life. When the developers first proposed the subdivision a decade ago, Daniel's father had opposed it vehemently, warning that suburban expansion would eventually bring trouble to their farming operations. Now, with his father gone, Daniel was beginning to understand just how right he had been. It started with small complaints. A few homeowners from Oak Ridge Estates called the county to grumble about the early morning noise of tractors and the occasional scent of manure wafting across their manicured lawns. Then came the letters, official-looking documents from the Oak Ridge Estates Homeowners Association, HOA, demanding that Daniel cease certain farming activities near the property line. They claimed that the sounds of his farm equipment violated the HOA's peaceful enjoyment clause and that the odor from his livestock posed a public nuisance. Daniel ignored the letters at first. His farm was outside the HOA's jurisdiction, and he had legal protection under the state's Right to Farm Act, which shielded agricultural operations from nuisance lawsuits. But the complaints escalated. The HOA president, Karen Wilson, a former corporate attorney with a reputation for aggressive legal tactics, began filing official grievances with the county zoning board. She argued that Daniel's farm was no longer a legitimate agricultural entity and should be subject to the same regulations as the residential community. Then came the visits from county inspectors, each citing a different obscure regulation that Daniel allegedly violated. He was fined for excessive dust from his dirt roads, for the placement of his grain silos, and even for the use of traditional farming equipment that the HOA deemed disruptive. It was clear that this wasn't about compliance. It was a campaign to pressure him into submission. The final straw came when Daniel received a notice from the county stating that his farm's agricultural exemption had been revoked. According to the letter, his land had been reclassified as mixed-use residential, meaning it was now subject to HOA rules and zoning restrictions. Furious, Daniel drove straight to the county clerk's office, demanding to see the records. After hours of digging through paperwork, he discovered something shocking. The change had been requested not by him, but by an anonymous, concerned party. Further investigation revealed that the petition had originated from Karen Wilson's office. Armed with this information, Daniel confronted the zoning board, presenting documents proving that his farm had continuously operated as an agricultural property for over a century. He also highlighted the legal protections granted under state law. Under pressure, the board rescinded the reclassification, but the damage had been done. It was clear that Karen and the HOA were willing to manipulate the system to achieve their goal, pushing him off his land. Just as Daniel was dealing with the zoning fiasco, another, far more insidious issue surfaced. While reviewing his land records, he noticed a discrepancy in his property boundaries. According to the latest records, his farm had shrunk from 2,000 acres to just 300. Panicked, he pored over the documents, tracing the supposed transactions. To his horror, he found that 1,700 acres of his land had been sold without his knowledge. The county records showed signed deeds, transfer documents, and even mortgage filings, all bearing his forged signature. Daniel's heart pounded. Someone had stolen his land, and if he didn't act fast, it would be gone forever. He immediately contacted his lawyer, Tom Grayson, who specialized in property disputes. After a thorough review, Tom confirmed Daniel's worst fears. The fraudulent sale had been conducted in multiple phases over the past 5 years, with portions of his land transferred to various shell corporations, each with ties to the developers behind Oak Ridge Estates. "This isn't just a clerical error," Tom said grimly. This is an orchestrated land grab, and it looks like your neighborly HOA is at the center of it. Determined to uncover the truth, Daniel and Tom launched an independent investigation. They requested access to original deed records and compared them to the supposed sale documents on file with the county. The discrepancies were glaring: signatures that didn't match, dates that didn't align, and notarized statements from individuals who had never even been in the county. Daniel's stomach churned as he realized the depth of the conspiracy. Someone had gone to great lengths to fabricate documents, covering their tracks through a maze of legal loopholes and bureaucratic red tape. Worse, the developers had already begun the process of obtaining building permits for the stolen land, planning to turn what had once been fertile farmland into a sprawling luxury shopping center and high-rise condominiums. He knew time was running out. If the development proceeded, reversing the fraudulent transactions would become exponentially harder. He needed proof, something undeniable that would force the courts to act. Digging deeper, Daniel and Tom found their first major break. One of the notarized documents bore the stamp of a county official who had retired 5 years earlier, before the supposed transaction had even taken place. It was irrefutable evidence of fraud. Armed with this, Daniel prepared for the legal battle of his life. He wasn't just fighting for his land. He was fighting for his family's legacy, for the right to continue a tradition that had sustained generations. And he was ready to take the fight to the HOA, the developers, and anyone else who had dared to steal from him. The war for McAllister Farm had just begun. As the McAllister family dug deeper into the issue, they realized that legal action was their only recourse. They hired an attorney specializing in property law and HOA disputes to challenge the association's overreach. However, the legal process was far from straightforward. The HOA, backed by its well-funded legal team, employed numerous delay tactics to wear down the McAllisters. They filed counterclaims, requested excessive documentation, and attempted to dismiss the case on technical grounds. Each motion meant additional time, expenses, and stress for the McAllister family. To make matters worse, the local courts were slow-moving, and judges were often hesitant to intervene in HOA matters unless clear evidence of wrongdoing was present. The McAllisters faced an uphill battle, knowing that their opponents had the resources to drag the case out indefinitely. Yet, they remained steadfast in their determination, refusing to be bullied out of their rightful property. The prolonged legal battle also took a toll on the McAllister Farm's operations. With legal fees mounting, they struggled to keep up with expenses related to livestock care, crop maintenance, and general upkeep. The uncertainty surrounding the case made it difficult for them to invest in improvements, leaving them in a state of limbo. Yet, they pressed on, believing that justice was on their side. The McAllisters soon realized that their struggle was not just a legal battle but also a fight for public opinion. Within the town, the issue became a hot topic of discussion, dividing residents into two camps. Some sided with the HOA, arguing that maintaining uniformity and order in the community was essential. Others supported the McAllisters, seeing their plight as an example of corporate overreach and the erosion of property rights. To rally support, the McAllisters reached out to local media, explaining their situation and exposing the HOA's questionable practices. They shared documents, emails, and recordings that highlighted the association's deceptive tactics. Their story gained traction, and soon, social media platforms became a battleground for both supporters and detractors. Amid the division, allies emerged. Farmers from neighboring towns, civil rights groups, and advocates for property rights began to take an interest in the case. Some organized fundraisers to help with legal fees, while others wrote letters to local officials urging them to intervene. The overwhelming support gave the McAllisters renewed hope, proving that they were not alone in their fight. During the course of their legal battle, the McAllisters uncovered shocking evidence that further solidified their case. Through investigative efforts and anonymous tips, they discovered that key members of the HOA board had personal financial interests tied to the disputed land. Some had direct connections to developers who sought to convert parts of the McAllister farm into residential properties. Additionally, leaked emails and internal documents showed clear intent to push the McAllisters out. The HOA board had discussed various strategies to force their compliance or eventual sale of the land. Even more damning was the revelation that one board member had allegedly forged documents related to zoning restrictions, creating a false narrative that the McAllisters' farm violated community regulations. With these discoveries, the McAllisters' legal team filed motions to bring these fraudulent activities to light in court. The revelation sent shockwaves through the community, causing even some of the HOA's strongest supporters to reconsider their stance. Local news outlets began investigating further, uncovering similar cases where the HOA had used intimidation and deception to force property owners into compliance or surrender. As public outcry grew, political figures started to take notice. The town's mayor, previously hesitant to get involved in HOA matters, launched an independent review into the association's actions. City council members also proposed new policies aimed at curbing HOA overreach, ensuring that property owners had a clear path to challenge unjust rulings. Meanwhile, the state attorney general's office initiated an inquiry into the allegations of fraud, misuse of authority, and possible financial mismanagement within the HOA. The investigation revealed a disturbing pattern. The HOA had, on multiple occasions, imposed arbitrary rules to favor select individuals while punishing those who resisted their control. Some former homeowners who had been forced out came forward with similar stories, adding weight to the case. In response, the HOA board members implicated in wrongdoing attempted damage control, resigning from their positions or denying involvement. However, their efforts were in vain as evidence continued to mount against them. The legal landscape was shifting in the McAllisters' favor, but the fight was far from over. After years of legal wrangling, the McAllisters' case finally reached a decisive moment. The court ruled in their favor, declaring that the HOA had no legal authority over their farm. The fraudulent zoning claims were dismissed, and the court mandated a full audit of the HOA's practices, leading to further legal actions against corrupt board members. The victory was not just a personal triumph for the McAllisters, but a significant precedent for other homeowners facing similar battles. The ruling prompted statewide discussions on HOA regulations, with many advocating for reforms to prevent future abuses. Lawmakers introduced new measures that increased transparency, restricted HOA powers, and provided stronger protections for property owners. For the McAllisters, the victory was bittersweet. The long fight had drained them emotionally and financially, but they emerged stronger and more determined to prevent others from suffering the same ordeal. They became vocal advocates for property rights, using their experience to educate others on how to fight back against overreaching HOAs. Their farm, once under threat, became a symbol of resilience and justice, proving that even against powerful forces, persistence and truth can prevail. Artificial intelligence, AI, has transformed the way societies function, offering unprecedented advancements in automation, decision-making, and predictive analytics. AI encompasses various technologies, including machine learning, natural language processing, and robotics, which have been integrated into different sectors such as healthcare, finance, manufacturing, and education. One of the most significant contributions of AI is in healthcare, where machine learning algorithms assist in diagnosing diseases, predicting patient outcomes, and personalizing treatment plans. AI-powered robots perform complex surgeries with precision, reducing human error. Additionally, AI-driven chatbots provide round-the-clock medical advice, helping patients manage their health more effectively. In finance, AI revolutionizes trading strategies, fraud detection, and customer service. AI algorithms analyze massive datasets in real time to identify patterns and predict market trends, providing investors with insights that improve decision-making. Additionally, AI enhances cybersecurity by detecting fraudulent activities and unauthorized transactions, ensuring safer financial transactions. The manufacturing industry benefits from AI-driven automation, increasing efficiency and reducing labor costs. Smart robots assemble products with precision, while AI-powered quality control systems detect defects in real time, improving overall product reliability. AI also optimizes supply chain management, reducing wastage and enhancing logistics. Education has also been impacted by AI, with personalized learning platforms adapting to individual student needs. AI-powered tutors analyze students' progress and provide tailored recommendations, helping them grasp complex concepts more effectively. Automated grading systems reduce educators' workload, allowing them to focus on student engagement and curriculum development. Despite its benefits, AI raises ethical concerns, including job displacement, privacy risks, and biased decision-making. Ensuring responsible AI development and implementation requires regulations that balance innovation with ethical considerations. As AI continues to evolve, society must adapt to harness its potential while mitigating its risks. Renewable energy has become a cornerstone of sustainable development, offering a viable alternative to fossil fuels and reducing the impact of climate change. Advances in solar, wind, hydro, and geothermal energy have made renewable sources more accessible and efficient, contributing to a greener future. Solar energy has witnessed remarkable progress with the development of high-efficiency photovoltaic cells and solar farms. The cost of solar panels has significantly decreased, making it a more affordable energy source for residential and commercial use. Innovations in energy storage, such as lithium-ion and solid-state batteries, have addressed the intermittency issue, allowing solar power to be stored for use during non-sunny periods. Wind energy has also gained momentum, with offshore and onshore wind farms generating significant electricity. Technological advancements in turbine design and predictive maintenance have improved energy output and reduced operational costs. Countries with strong wind resources, such as Denmark and the United States, have integrated wind energy into their power grids, reducing reliance on fossil fuels. Hydropower remains one of the most stable renewable energy sources, contributing to global electricity production. Modern hydroelectric plants incorporate eco-friendly designs to minimize environmental impact, such as fish-friendly turbines and sediment management systems. Small-scale hydropower projects also provide sustainable energy solutions for remote communities. Geothermal energy, derived from the Earth's internal heat, is another promising renewable source. Enhanced geothermal systems, EGS, enable energy extraction from deeper underground reservoirs, expanding its potential in regions without natural geysers or hot springs. Countries like Iceland and the Philippines have successfully utilized geothermal energy for heating and electricity generation. Sustainability efforts extend beyond energy production to include smart grids, energy-efficient buildings, and carbon capture technologies. Governments and businesses are investing in renewable energy projects, implementing policies to transition towards a sustainable energy future. While challenges such as infrastructure development and initial investment costs remain, the long-term benefits of renewable energy make it a crucial component of global sustainability initiatives. Social media has revolutionized communication, enabling instant connectivity and information sharing. However, its impact on mental health has become a growing concern, with studies linking excessive social media use to anxiety, depression, and reduced self-esteem. One major issue is social comparison, where individuals measure their lives against the curated posts of others. Seeing idealized representations of lifestyles, achievements, and appearances can lead to feelings of inadequacy and self-doubt. Studies have shown that frequent exposure to unrealistic beauty standards contributes to body image issues and eating disorders, particularly among teenagers and young adults. Cyberbullying is another significant concern, as anonymity on social media platforms allows individuals to engage in harassment and online abuse. Victims of cyberbullying often experience emotional distress, leading to social withdrawal and, in extreme cases, suicidal ideation. Social media companies have implemented measures such as AI-driven content moderation and reporting systems to combat cyberbullying, but challenges remain in enforcing regulations effectively. Additionally, social media addiction affects mental well-being by disrupting sleep patterns and reducing in-person interactions. The dopamine-driven nature of social media platforms encourages constant engagement, leading to compulsive scrolling and reduced productivity. Sleep deprivation, linked to excessive screen time, exacerbates stress and cognitive impairments. Despite these challenges, social media also has positive aspects, such as support networks for individuals struggling with mental health issues. Online communities provide a sense of belonging and emotional support, helping people cope with anxiety and depression. Mental health awareness campaigns on social media also destigmatize discussions surrounding mental well-being, encouraging individuals to seek professional help when needed. Balancing social media use through digital detoxes, mindfulness practices, and setting screen time limits can help mitigate its negative effects. Promoting responsible social media habits is essential for maintaining mental health while leveraging its benefits for social connectivity and awareness, for their inherent satisfaction rather than external rewards. Maslow's theory emphasizes the importance of fulfilling basic needs before achieving self-actualization, while self-determination theory highlights autonomy, competence, and relatedness as key drivers of motivation. Setting clear goals, developing resilience, and maintaining a growth mindset are essential for sustained motivation and success. Overcoming obstacles through persistence, adaptability, and positive reinforcement enhances long-term achievement. Understanding motivation psychology enables individuals to harness their potential, fostering personal growth and professional excellence. The final leg of the protagonist's journey was the most daunting of all. After enduring trials of mind, body, and spirit, they stood at the entrance of the forbidden citadel, a place whispered about in fearful tones across the lands. The citadel was said to house the dark force that had cast a shadow over their world, an evil that had once been sealed away but had begun to reawaken. As they stepped through the gates, the air grew thick with a palpable darkness. The walls whispered ancient incantations, and shadows moved of their own accord. Every corridor presented illusions designed to break the will of those who entered. The protagonist had to recall every lesson learned from their journey, every friendship formed, every hardship endured, to see through the deceptions and push forward. The final chamber was an amphitheater of ruin, at its center a throne of obsidian upon which the dark force sat, waiting. It was neither man nor beast, but something in between, a being of malice forged from the forgotten past. With a voice like shattered glass, it spoke the protagonist's name, revealing that their arrival had been foreseen. The battle began, an epic clash of light and darkness, where the protagonist had to channel every ounce of their strength and courage to hold their own. As the battle raged on, it became clear that brute strength alone would not win the day. The dark force, fueled by ancient hatred, adapted to every strike, every spell, rendering traditional combat futile. Despair threatened to seep into the protagonist's heart, but a glimmer of hope appeared in the form of a long-forgotten memory. In their childhood, the protagonist had once been told a tale of the ancient guardians who sealed the darkness away, not through battle, but through unity and sacrifice. They realized that victory lay not in destruction, but in balance. The protagonist made the ultimate decision, to channel their very essence into the spell of sealing, binding themselves as the living lock upon the darkness. As the spell took hold, the dark force howled in fury, struggling against the inevitable. The protagonist felt their strength wane, their consciousness slipping into the void, but with a final thought of the world they fought for, the faces of those they loved, they embraced their fate. The citadel trembled, the darkness was contained, and silence filled. When the dawn broke over the land, the people felt a shift in the air. The looming presence of dread had lifted, replaced by an eerie stillness. The protagonist's closest allies rushed to the citadel, finding the battlefield empty but for a single artifact, the protagonist's sigil, now glowing with an otherworldly light. The scholars and mystics studied the event, realizing that the darkness had not been destroyed but returned to its prison, with the protagonist serving as its eternal warden. Tales of their bravery spread far and wide, and a great monument was erected in their honor. The world, now freed from the shadow of doom, began to heal. Yet, those who knew the protagonist personally could not shake the feeling that they were not truly gone. In moments of quiet, some swore they heard their voice on the wind, whispering words of encouragement, reminding them that vigilance must never wane. Years passed, and with them came a new generation. The protagonist's deeds became legend, their name etched into history. But the wise knew that history has a way of repeating itself. The darkness, though sealed, would one day seek escape, and when that time came, the world would need new champions. In honor of the fallen hero, a sacred order was formed, the Keepers of the Seal. These guardians trained tirelessly, not only in combat but in wisdom, kindness, and sacrifice, ensuring that they would be ready should the darkness ever stir again. They bore the sigil of the lost hero, a reminder of what was at stake and the price that had been paid. Though the protagonist had vanished from the world, their teachings, courage, and selflessness became the foundation upon which the future was built. They had not only saved the world but had given it the tools to protect itself in their absence. The final chapter of the protagonist's tale was not one of sorrow, but of hope. Though bound beyond the veil, their spirit did not fade. In the deepest parts of the astral realm, where time and space intertwine, they remained ever watchful, ensuring that the balance held. Some say that when the world is at its darkest hour, when the shadows rise once more and hope seems lost, the protagonist will return, not as they once were, but reborn, ready to stand against the encroaching night. A prophecy, whispered by seers and dreamers, speaks of the day when the stars will align, and the sigil will glow once more, signaling the hero's return. Until that day, the world moves forward, carrying their legacy. Songs are sung, books are written, and every night, as the stars shine upon the land, people remember the one who sacrificed everything to give them another dawn.